Hello everyone and welcome to round 5 USA quota of the All or Nothing Racing League. As we have got 14 drivers on the grid preparing to make their first out laps and then trying to secure a good position for the race, as we are now waiting for one driver to go out and we shall follow them as we are going to go on board with the new driver of Seeks. Let's go to him in the new Aston Martin. As we are still awaiting on our first driver to exit the pits. It's going to be an exciting track. You have the S's, which is going to be hard on the driver's tyres. So time management is going to be a big thing to take care of around this track. As we are still waiting for the first driver to leave the pits. As here we have the Ferrari and the McLaren out of the pits. Here we have the Haas driver, the Red Bull and the other Ferrari coming out, or the two Red Bulls coming out, sorry. The Mercedes of David, sorry, coming out on board with him now. Let's quickly do some adjustments. Sorry guys. Here we are on board with the Mercedes driver of David. As we are, everyone is going to be preparing for their first out lap here. Of these S's are going to be proper struggle for the drivers to master and get perfect times through. As we just see Mark preparing for his first lap. As we have a Mercedes driver out on the intermediate tyres. That is a strange one. Wonder what he's doing, maybe getting a feel for the track. We never know. As all drivers are mostly on track, we've just got 3 drivers in the pits. As we have the AlphaTauri out of the pits, that leaves 2 people in the pits. Let's see who is first. He'll go on board with the Ferrari here, as he'll be first to do his first hot lap. As he already has used most of his ERS, that's not going to help him as he charges to the line for his first hot lap of the USA Grand Prix. See what he can do into turn 1 here. Brakes nice and early, gets turned into corner, misses the apex, goes a bit wide. He'll be lucky if he keeps that lap there. Here we are with your race winner of Azerbaijan. See how he takes this corner, hits the apex, keeps it on the track. Mean Gamer right behind him. He's going to be hoping that he doesn't get slowed down by the Haas driver. As he masters, as he goes a bit deep and he goes off the track on board with Reaper Wolf here for his hot lap as a yellow flag. As we have a spin from Axe Deadly. That's not what he's going to be wanting, as we're on board with Metic HQ here on his out lap. Dogic starting his lap, pole position from last race. As we go back on board with Ferrari driver, first to set a lap it will be in this session. See what he can do. We are waiting a couple of yellow flags in sector 1 and 3, but they are cleared now as he comes round to finish his first lap of the Kota Grand Prix. Brakes nice and early into the turn. Deploys DRS, what will the first time be a 1:36.536. Let's go on board. Who will the next person be? The McLaren of Blistered as he goes to the line with a pole position lap with a 1:36.187. The meme gamer sets a P2 worthy lap. Okay, what have we got coming? As we are on board with DeMark, who's going out for his first hot lap. Brakes nice and early, bit deep, right behind the Haas driver. Let's see who else is about to set a lap. I think we've got the Alfa Romeo coming next. Your pole position, oh, he's coming into the pits. He must have been unhappy with what he did. On board now with the Aston Martin of Metic, about to start his first lap. As we have the Aston Martin driver has gone off the track, maybe letting people through. On board with the Alpine, seems to be the next person to set a lap. Nice and smooth through there. He's going to deploy his DRS to the line with a 1:36.167, your pole position time at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. As Molzener Hauer, who said that time? Blistered, my bad. No, who said that time? Hockey Iceman, my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. As we're waiting on board with KFC Wi-Fi Darrell, as he might be impeded by the Aston Martin, but he seems to get out of the way. He'll get a nice little exit there. As he heads down to, I don't know what time that is, but we have a left flag in sector 3 of the Red Bull. He must have just been stopping, or is it the other Red Bull? Not quite too sure there. Back on board with KFC Wi-Fi. Mastering these are nice little. He's got purple sector 2, ladies and gentlemen. Purple sector 2. As Reaper Wolf goes P6, although I don't know what that is actually. Here we have KFC Wi-Fi finishing his first hot lap of the session. What will it be? As we have the Aston Martin out of the Grand Prix, we'll check on that as a good P1 with a 1:35.989. As we go see what happened to the Aston Martin driver. He must have just crashed or had an incident. Let's go on board with the Mercedes. See if we can see what happened there. He must have just lost it. Going around the turn. Yeah, he has just lost it. That's unfortunate for the Aston Martin driver. As the driver is prepared to make their final preparations. And Demark seems to be on outlap with purple sector 2. Hot lap, sorry, my bad. Make sure everyone that's at home is followed to the All or Nothing Racing League channel. As he takes a nice little line there. Hope so that Haas can get out of the way of the Red Bull driver. As he does. Pedal, sorry. DRS deployed. The P1 time was a 1:34.894. That is currently close to a second quicker than Mr. Emmy, sorry. As 17 people in the stream, make sure you follow and join the Discord if you want to place in the All or Nothing Racing League. As we go on board with Metic HQ, I'd say his first hot lap of the session. Goes and locks up. Oh, that will not be good for his lap time there. On board with KFC Wi-Fi Darrell. As he looks like he's heading into the pits actually. No one else seems to be setting a time. We're just waiting on the driver. The gamer he's on a hot lap here. Let's go with him. Nice and early. Good turn one there from the Red Bull driver. Let's see what we can do through these little S's. Little worm section, I like to call it. Nice. That's beautiful from the Red Bull driver. He gets on the throttle nice and early, trying to push for a pole position, P2 or P3 for Kota. Kota is a very good overtaking track. He can do many overtakes, especially on this long straight he is about to head onto. Red Bull driver of me and the gamer about to deploy his DRS down this straight as we go on board with Dogic. So it's a P2, 2/10 behind DeMarc. He'll be battling for the P1 position as we go back on board with Mean Gamer as DeMarc says hello, our pole position driver, as his teammate in the Red Bull is trying to set his time 1 second and 3/10 behind his teammate. As downward as that sets a P4 time as we go on back on board with Meme the Gamer. What can Meme the Gamer do? Coming down to the final turn, brakes nice and early, turns in nice and early, gets on the throttle, DRS deployed, and it's P3 for the Red Bull driver. As DeMarc says, I'm going out of the pits. Wish me luck on my lap. Let's see if he can keep his P1 position as we go on board with Blistered. Doesn't look like he's quite setting a time yet. I think he's getting ready to set his time as Siege, slowing down for his lap. Let's see, anyone on a lap. On board with, so we go with this Mercedes driver, yet to set a lap, a proper lap, 22 seconds behind the leader. Obviously we know that's not a lap. As he goes purple sector 2, people seem to be smashing the times in sector 2 here. Nothing can split the top 3 at the moment. 3/10 in it. As we're on board with Axe Deadly, see what he can do here. His first race in Silver Tier. Coming down, too early, he's had a spin. That's not what he wanted, coming down to the final turn. As we go back on board, me and the gamer put a P3 lap in, he'll be happy with that. As we go on board with, who's gets a hot lap, I think. Ballisted maybe on a little hot lap here. Yes, he is. Nice and early into that turn. As that Dogic has just set. No, he hasn't. Who was we on board with, ladies and gentlemen? Ballisted in the McLaren coming round on his hot lap. Coming down to the final turn here. It's nice and early. Gonna deploy the DRS down to the straight. It's a P3 for the McLaren driver. 2 point. Well, I can't tell the time there. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Here we have everybody's times on the leaderboard. Let's go on board with Mr. Emmy for his hot lap. The AlphaTauri driver, first race for him in the Silver Tier, Mr. Azerbaijan. See what he can do in this all or nothing racing league. Let's see what he can do in the AlphaTauri number 95, sporting Lightning McQueen. If any of you know what that is, let me know. As we can see the back of the AlphaTauri's car. Nice little car it is. Metic HQ, the other commentator in gold tier, out for his outlap. As we have on board with DeMarc on his hot lap behind the McLaren. Looks like he's going for another lap, or will he be heading into the pits? Find out in 2 seconds. He's heading into the pits for him as we go on board with DeMarc. See what he can do. Can he improve on his pole position time? Yes or no? Flat out into the final turn. DRS deployed. And he proves they won 34. He is 6/10 clear of P2. Dogic will need something special to beat DeMarc today. DeMarc is on his A game as his teammate is going to try and master and beat his teammate around Kota. On board with Molozeno out for his hot lap in the Ferrari. Currently 2 seconds slower than the pole position time. See what he can do here. Riding the curbs along there. Bit deep into, and he goes very, very wide. That's going to hinder his time. On board with your race winner, Reaper Wolf. DeMarc here with a perfect 1:34.507 time as we go on board with the Ferrari. See what time he is going to put in. DRS deployed. He stays where he was as every other driver. Reaper Wolf doesn't improve on his time. Metic HQ doesn't seem to really be doing anything here. As Meme the Gamer is going out for another lap. See what he can do to beat his teammate, or puts it in P2 to beat Dogic and Blistered. Takes that corner very, very nice. As he down to the final turn. Meme the Gamer, what can he do here to beat his teammate? He stays in P5 there. 3 seconds slower than that time. Not what he would have wanted there. As Axe Daily puts it P2, the Mercedes driver there. Good little lap from him. As we go on board, Dawid P6. Let's read you the driver championship standings. Dawid in first, Metic HQ second, Blistered third, Mr. Emmy fourth, KFC Wi-Fi fifth, Belmondo sixth, C's seventh, Reaper Wolf eighth, The Meme Gamer ninth, Doug 10th, Nick J 11th, DeMarc 13th, Roy 14th, Booper Duper 15th, and Awesome Ranger 16th. As we go to the constructor standings, don't have them yet. As we are on board with your driver of the day from Azerbaijan, P4. Everyone will be setting their final laps here to beat the marks 1:34.507 as Axe Daily has had a spin, I think. Or is he just pitting? I'm not quite too sure. He is pitting. As let's go on board with Dogic. Your pole position for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We wanted to do the same thing here. Everyone seems to be rocking number 95 around here. DeMarc seems happy with his time as we go on board with the P3 driver. Who is next across the line? Let's go to the Alpha. No. Alpha Tauri here. Will he beat DeMarc's time? I'm not quite too sure what's going on here. He has not used his ERS. That time is too slow to beat anything. As we go on board with Metic HQ, what can he do? He stays P13. We go on board with C's P10. As we go, who is the next driver to cross the line? Dogic. Can he beat DeMarc? P1 time. Pedal to the metal. And it's P3 for Doggett. Meme Gamer next to cross the line. What can he do? Can he beat his teammates to pole position time? Not looking quick enough at the moment. As he comes around the final few corners, down to the final turn. A little bit slippy there on the entrance down to the first straight. P5 for the Red Bull driver. KFC Darryl comes into the pits. So, ladies and gentlemen, your pole position, DeMarc, with a 1:34.57. Good little lap from the Red Bull driver there as he puts in. What are your race predictions? My race predictions are, my friend, Doggett P1. KFC Wi-Fi Daryl, he is quick when it comes to race pace, so I'm going to put in P2, and yourself, DeMarc, P3. That's my top 3 predictions. As we might have a little bit of news here. Coming out of the paddock, KFC Wi-Fi might have blocked the Alpine driver. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Your top 14, should I say, but your pole position leader, DeMarc in the Red Bull, followed by the McLaren driver of Axe, Doggett, Alfa Romeo, blistered P4 in the McLaren, Meme the Gamer in the Red Bull P5, Dowd Mercedes P6, Hockey Iceman P7 in the Alfa Romeo, Mr. Emmy 100 in AlphaTauri P8, KFC Wi-Fi in the 9th, as your final driver in the top 10, C's XBL in P10. That is your qualifying session, and now let's get to the race. As we're waiting for the drivers to do their strategies to start the formation lap of the COTA Grand Prix. Everyone in the comments, put what football team you support and how they're doing in the Premier League currently, and also if you want to put what Formula 1 team you support, and see where you think they will finish in the Drivers' and the Constructors' Championship this season. On board with your pole position leader, DeMarc, warming up his tyres, followed by Axe, Doggett on hards, blistered on the mediums, Meme Gamer on mediums, Dowd on the hard tyres, Hockey Iceman, as the predicted pit stop strategy is on your screen now. Mr. Emmy on the medium tyres, KFC on the soft tyres, going for a different strategy compared to everyone else, going very aggressive. C's on the mediums, Ferrari driver of Monza on mediums, Haas driver hards, Metic mediums, and the other Aston Martin on mediums. As you can see there, drivers warming up their tyres. He's going to build a little gap to P2, try and warm up his brakes and his rear wheel tyres. You can see the helmet of DeMarc there. Nice, glowing. Axe, deadly, with his green helmet. As we can get up. So, there are your driver's tyres. as we are waiting for the drivers to line up to the grid. Red Bull driver here doing his final preparations. Ooh, a bit close there. As we are waiting. As Blistered gets disqualified. Maybe got his positioning a bit wrong there. Mercedes driver pointing very towards the Red Bull driver as we are waiting on 6 to line up to the grid with his teammate Metic HQ. We can see the Aston Martin drivers in formation there as we are waiting on the lights to go out. Why is it not giving me that? What's going on here? As it's lights out and away we go. Not quite yet. Don't know what's going on now. It's lights out and away we go for the Kota Grand Prix. As your leader Demark gets a great start. Doggett gets P2. Meme Gamer up to P3. Axe has dropped as he overtakes the Meme Gamer. Demark holds his lead there. As you can see the Haas in the background going off. Axe Daily takes P2 back off Doggett there. As Reaper Wolf has dropped into the McLaren of Blistered spinning in the background. Oh no. Demark has kept his lead. Axe, Doggett, Meme Gamer, KFC, Wi-Fi, Dirrell has made up some good positions here. As Hockey Iceman stays, Dawid stays, and Mr. Emmy stays where they started there. On board now with Doggett, overtaken by Axe Deadly for the P2 position. Meme Gamer, P4, right behind him, KFC, Wi-Fi, Darryl, sorry. He goes a bit wide there. As there's a driver going off in the background. I think that was the Ferrari driver of Moltener. Something must have happened there. Reaper Wolf up down to P11. Metic stays where he was, sorry. And on board with your race leader Demark. Nice little race start from the number 7 driver there. Axe Daily right behind him. Doggett will be trying to get past him on them hard tyres. KFC Wi-Fi currently sat behind the front 3. Meme Gamer right behind him. Hockey Iceman will be looking to overtake the Red Bull driver for a top 5 position as the Red Bull driver there gets a bit slippy out of that turn as he looks back on his feet. As we go down the grid, doesn't seem anything seems to be happening as we go back on board with your race leader as there's a spin between the two Aston Martins. That look like a bit of contact there, not what they would have wanted there. Oh no, as Blister overtakes both as we have C's into the pits. Must have had a little bit of damage there as he clips the board. As here we have Reaper Wolf going for an overtake on Moltener as he just backs out a little bit there. What can he do here? He gets on the power nice and early. Nice little exit from the driver there. As we go on the back side of the Ferrari. Gets a little bit close as he goes wide. The Haas driver goes wide. Your race winner from Azerbaijan trying to get P9 as a position there as we go back on board with Axe Daily. As you see, Demark has made a nice little lead. As we see, Blistered has a 3-second time penalty. So there's a spin from Seeks there, not what he would have wanted. Sees back onto the racing with the soft tyres. Metic having a little bit of a spin there. Demark with a nice little lead. That's all he needs to do to win this race. Build the gap to the Mercedes driver. Doggett right behind the Axe Deadly as there's another spin for the Aston Martin driver. Not what he would have wanted on his debut race. Behind as the Aston Martins are having an absolute mare here, as it doesn't look like it's going well for them. Not what the pair would have wanted going in, as Metic has spun again. Not quite the cake. No, not quite. I don't know what the saying is. Not the icing on the cake. I don't know what I'm saying. As we go back on board with Demark, sets the fastest lap. Axe Deadly gaining on the leader as we have another yellow flag. I'm not quite sure whereabouts, but as we go on the back side of the Red Bull driver, the Mercedes driver is getting ever so closely to him. Doggett cannot keep up to the two front leaders. KFC Wi-Fi right behind the Alfa Romeo driver. Me and the Gamer slightly but surely following them. Mr. Emmy as Meme Gamer gets a 3-second time penalty, not what he would have wanted to keep up with these front 4. your race rundown for lap 3. DeMarc P1, Axe P2, Dogic P3 as a yellow flag for the Aston Martin driver. KFC Wi-Fi P4, Meme the Gamer P5, Mr. Emmy P6, Hockey Iceman P7, Dawid P8, Molzener P9, Reaper Wolf P10, Ballisted P11, Seas P12, 6 P13, and Metic HQ P14, White away from his teammates. As we go back on board with DeMarc, trying to hold this gap, but Axe Deadly's right behind him. Let's have a look at the interval. 5 tenths behind him. He will have DRS down the start-finish straight. He has got more ERS than the Red Bull driver, as there's another spin for Seeks. The Aston Martin driver, it's not going well for them boys. Let's hope he doesn't go on the track and hit his teammate. But nothing's going right for these boys here as we go back on board with Axe Deadly. What can he do to make sure he gets this win on his debut? Brakes nice and early. Going to deploy the ERS out of this turn. As I think there's another spin for the Aston Martin driver. DeMarc through the S's, he goes with 5% ERS, not what he would have wanted to see. Overtake the Aston Martin, gets out of the way nice and early for them. But there doesn't seem to be anything happen down the grid. Let's go on board with the Haas driver and Reaper Wolf. What are they doing here? Through the S's, he's going to go for a move around the outside as he goes inside. Sorry, it's a bit touchy there between the Haas and the Ferrari driver, but he gets through there nice safely. And there's gonna be a dive bomb there, and there's connection between the Ferrari and the Haas driver. What is the Ferrari driver doing there? Let's save that clip for the league. But that was outrageous from Molzener as Ballisted is overtaken by Reaper Wolf. As there's a safety car. Sorry. Or virtual, not quite. There's a virtual safety car, ladies and gentlemen. Don't know what happened there between the Haas and the Ferrari driver, but all we know so far is there's a virtual safety car. Reaper Wolf dropping and switching between Ferrari. Maybe a little bit of an altercation there between, as we see the Aston Martin driver with no front wing. A lot has happened in the first 4 laps of this race as Reaper Wolf gets a 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Emmy gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. Everything is kicking off right now, ladies and gentlemen. DRS has been nailed as we go to racing. 6 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings for that driver as we're on board with the Mercedes, as there's an Aston Martin coming out of the track in front of the two battling. 5-second penalty for as we are on board with DeMarc, your race leader, 6 tenths clear of Axe Deadly. Axe Deadly going to try and make the move, maybe on the straight. He's going to have the ERS and DRS to make his move to P1. As you can see, 6 in the pits. Doesn't seem to be coming out. He is coming out, actually, as we go back on board, as the Mercedes driver makes a move past DeMarc. As he has 0% ERS, Axe Deadly will surely pull away from the Red Bull driver now. As we go on board with me and the gamer, as he comes closer and ever so close to the Haas driver. What can he do now as he tries and maybe make a move around there? Not quite too sure. As we go back on board with David, as he's just slow but surely making his way behind the Alfa Romeo. Ballisted with a time penalty. Mr. Emmy right behind him with a time penalty. Reaper Wolf not too far behind as the person he collided with, Molzer P11. As we go on board, you can see the gap between the Red Bull and the Mercedes. This is like 2021, ladies and gentlemen. Red Bull v Mercedes. What can they do to maybe spice up little things here? Let's hope both drivers can make it through the race without any collisions. Meme the Gamer gets another time penalty. Not what he would have wanted. Let's go through the time penalties actually here. Meme Gamer, as we can see, hold on, we can see a move by the Red Bull driver. He's going to send it up the inside. So there's no collision between the two drivers here as the Mercedes driver stays in the lead. As we're going to go on the backside of him as the yellow flag for the Aston Martin driver. You see the heat coming off the Mercedes as he weaves down the straight. Not going to be Red Bull's too far behind to make a move. He's going to close up behind him, getting very close with his front wing as we go back on board with DeMarc. Right behind the Mercedes driver. As we are awaiting a move here. As Blistered has an 8 seconds on his time. Mr. Emmy 5 seconds. Rupert Wolf 5 seconds. As there's a move between the two drivers here. As the AlphaTauri going to make another move round the outside of Blistered. As there's yellow flag again for 6, maybe his 8th spin. Not quite as sure as we go down to the front two of fighting each other. Doggett not too far behind. KFC Rifle heading into the pits now. Them soft tyres will be very deflated. Meme Gamer right behind the front three there. As no comment on track battles, I'm not quite too sure. As we go back on board, Meme Gamer, Mr. Emmy, sorry, and Blistered. As there's another spin for the Aston Martin. Yep. Yeah, that's what I can say. Another spin for the Aston Martin. Put it in my quote book. As we are back on board with the McLaren driver, right behind the Haas driver. See the blinking red light. Hopefully he can make a move up to P7, as we can see a move by the Alpine driver. Not quite too sure, maybe that was a move in the pits, my bad, as there's another spin for seats with a 3-second time penalty there. Let's check how old everyone's tyres are, as there's a battle going on here with the two drivers, as they're going to be fighting for the win at Kota. As we see on the rear of the Mercedes, Red Bull driver is closing in and in 6 lap old tyres, so they're both fighting as equal tyres. As they're going to go down to the start finish straight, DRS will be deployed by the Red Bull driver as they get a little bit close all over the rear of him. As he's going to make a move here. They go wheel to wheel. Off the track goes the Mercedes, and the Red Bull just edges ahead as they're squeezing each other. Red Bull's going to send it up the inside, up to turn 1. Mercedes driver going to try and get the switchback, can't quite make it. On board with him now, as they're going to fight through the S section. Let's hope they can both get it through cleanly. No contact, boys. As there's a little bit of contact, as both spin out of the race. As the DeMarc Red Bull driver stays in, Axe Daly will be devastated by that. As Doggett will come through to take P2, we think. No, not quite. Meme Gamer gets another 3-second time penalty. DeMarc with a little bit of contact there with Axe Daly. Axe Daly would be devastated and angry at that racing incident. I think that was a racing incident, as the two leaders come together. And there's another spin for the Aston Martins as he gets overtaken by Reaper Wolf. DeMarc now with an 8-second lead to P2, as on board with Doggett will be all over the backside of the Mercedes driver. As there's a yellow flag, not quite for, that's the Martin drivers again. Come on, boys, you got this. As let's go on board with any fights going on between. I think we've got one between. No, we don't. Blistered is ghosting. Not quite sure what's going on here. On board with DeMarc. 8.1 seconds clear of P2. He'll hope that he doesn't get a penalty for that collision here as we go on board with Doggett. Awaiting for a move by the Alfa Romeo driver on the faster tyres at the moment. as he is. Oh, there's a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit line by Moser Hauer. And there's another spin for the Aston Martins as he hits the wall. They're not what he's going to want for his debut race. Metic HQ there, as we have a yellow flag in sector 3. Obviously that was there with 6 as he has spun again. Said that a couple of times this race, as he'll be reversing. Any battles we can look at? Doggett here, closely behind David, going to be looking for a move on Hockey. Iceman 11, Alfa Romeo driver. What can he do to change things? As we go on board sector 1, guess what? It's a spin from the Aston Martin driver as he gets passed by the race leader DeMarc, charging through in the Red Bull driver, trying to make amends for what happened last race. Obviously had a little bit of spin and there's another spin for both Aston Martin drivers. Bit of a mare from the boys, so hope they can do better in the upcoming races. As my order is preparing for dispatch, ladies and gentlemen, my Amazon purchase, as there's another spin for Seeks. As we can see here, I'm pretty sure there's a battle going on between the Alpha Tauri and the Haas driver trying to get past Mr. Emmy here. We'll get DRS on the straight, and there's another yellow flag in sector 2 with 6. On Bobby race leader, 7 seconds clear of Axe Deadly, who is obviously there's a little bit of collision between the two. I'm just waiting for updates in the chat. As Blistered's game has crashed, that's why we've seen him ghosting. Let's see if he's in the game. Looks like he's back in the game, as everything has been sorted there. As there's a move by Mr. KFC Darrell on Mr. Emmy. That was a nice little move you see from the Haas driver. Someone just maybe left there in the chat. As Axe Deadly has made his stop onto the hard tyres. That should be his only stop, as Dawid overtakes him for P5. Doggett 10 lap. Everyone other than, I think that was Axe Deadly, Molzenar and Reaper Wolf have pitted. Oh, and maybe C's actually, and 6. But as we go wheel to wheel between Axe Deadly and Mr. Emmy as he comes out the pits, we will not want to be holding up by the Alpha Tower driver for long. He wants to be fighting and charging for that P1 position that he unfortunately lost in the collision. If any of you have any suggestions on what you think the race will finish like, put it in the chat. Our pole position leader, our race leader was in the chat a few moments ago. As we go on board with Reaper Wolf, your race winner, not doing so great as what he did last week, as the Aston Martin drivers seem to have it on the track so far. Not a little bit of spin as we go back on board, as there's a little dive bomb there from the Alpha Tauri driver, as there's a little bit of collision there, but that accidentally gets past him. That'll be good for the Mercedes driver of keeping his tyres nice and neat. There doesn't seem to be any battles going on so far. We've got a bird's eye view shot of that lovely little Red Bull. Doggett rested yet to pit though. As we see a bit of this is where the race will fall out a bit. Everyone will be pitting, it will be slowing down. Everyone has spread it out a little bit as we go on board with the 2 Aston Martin drivers. think. Oh, and a little bit of a spin. The spin for the Aston Martin driver, as the other one seems to be keeping on the track a lot more than the other. Let's hope there's not a safety car there. As the Red Bull driver in front now by 13 seconds as a yellow flag for the Aston Martin driver, as Axe Deadly gets a 3-second time penalty as he's closing up to KFC Darrell, and that's not what you're going to want for the race lead. He's going to be closing up to Darmac in the final stages of the race, but here we are, DRS deployed, ERS deployed, as the has a little bit of a swerve there. Let's see, I think he let him pass. Not much of a fight put up by the Haas driver there. As we have a sector 3 yellow flag, as Six has DNF'd. The Aston Martin driver has unfortunately DNF'd as we go on board. Let's see what happened there. As he might have just span on the straight. Oh, he might have DNF'd in the pits, not quite too sure what happened. Let's hope that he's out of the car. I think he might have just retired in the pits, so he has saved us from having a safety car here. Seek has left the session. There's Doggett here, 13 seconds behind, as accidentally sets your fastest time with a 1:37.632. Nothing quite happening so far. No on-track battles, as Meme Emmy might be suffering a time penalty in the pits as Ballisted and Hockey get past him. As we are waiting. As this race is kind of bottoming out, as there's a little battle here. Oh, he's letting him pass. Got our hopes up there. As we go back on board with no one, because nothing's quite happening, ladies and gentlemen. Not as exciting as the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and obviously I am ill at the moment. Missed a couple of days off with sore throat, as our race leader is pitting here. Will be overtaken by Doggett. Doggett is on the hard tyres, so he'll be your race leader for the time being. As he pits, no, he does not. Mean Game out P3, Doward P4. He might overtake the race leader, not quite too sure. And maths is not great. As no, he will not. No, he will not. The Mean Gamer might. No, he will not. DeMarc comes out P2. His teammate right behind him P3. Doggett in the lead at the moment with 13 lap tyres. As the two Mercedes drivers coming close to each other, there's a little bit of a mistake from Mean Gamer there. Two Mercedes drivers are about to pounce on that as the straight is coming up. We can see a three-way battle here as accidentally on the new tyres might overtake his teammate here. David might let him past. I think he is without any fight as he comes to overtake him. Mean Gamer now up next for the Mercedes driver. As he overtakes the Red Bull driver there. Nice little move from the Mercedes driver of Axe Deadly. Axe Deadly will want to make amends as he has gained a bit of time to DeMarc. DeMarc there losing time in the pits. Doggett obviously 4 seconds ahead, but will need to pit eventually. Reaper Wolf will need to do another pit stop because them tyres will not last. As we are awaiting on some news in the chat. As I think we still have a little bit of three-way battle here. No, as me and the gamer heads into the pits. Doward is right behind, so he will be pitting most likely next lap. KFC Darrell out still will be right behind the Mercedes driver. waiting on something to happen. Demarc here chasing your race leader. As Mean Gamer gets a 3-second time penalty. Let's check everyone's. And another one for Mr. Emmy. Let's check everyone's penalties. So we have a 12-second time penalty for Mean the Gamer. If he is not careful, he will be disqualified from this session. As also Reaper Wolf, Molzener, sorry, with 14 seconds on his time. There's a battle, I think, going on between the Red Bull and the Alpha with Mayo here, as he will deploy his DRS, overtake the P6 driver of Mean Gamer. Mean Gamer on 12 seconds coming out of the pits. He will most likely overtake him. So no, when Huggy Gamer has what 3 lap old tyres. We are on board with Doward here, going to try and make a move on the Haas drive. As we have a yellow flag in sector 3 as we see the Alpine and the Ferrari driver going wheel to wheel, as accidentally gets another 3-second time penalty, says into the pits. That's not what he wants. As we see Demarc all over P1, going to try and get that position back. Dogic on 15 lap yellow tyres. He might just head into the pits now. We'll find out very soon. As he does, Demarc will take his pole position back. Oh, as a spin for the Mercedes driver. He wants to get on track straight away, but he can't, as KFC Wi-Fi takes P3. His teammate Doward will overtake. Doward yet to pit. Also, KFC Darrell yet to pit. Ice Hockey Man can find himself in a brilliant position here, if he can up his pace as Doggett goes into the pits. So, KFC Wi-Fi up to P2 here. Further back, I think we can see a little battle going on between the Red Bull and Hockey Man. As will he get past him here on the straight? Let's see what he can do. to do. Can he overtake him as there's a hash coming out of the pits of KFC Wi-Fi? He'll be right behind this little battle going on here. Here we have a three-way battle to spice things up in this race. He'll be warming up his time, so he won't be on the pace straight away. On board with Meme Gamer. As you can see, on the AlphaTauri, he's right behind him. This will be the battle for P3 now, ladies and gentlemen. KFC Wi-Fi versus Meme Gamer versus Hockey Iceman. But do not write out Dawid. Dawid is a very fast racer. Can he pull the gap to P3, 3, 4, 5 here? You can see pulling a good gap here. That's what low winds do for you. The Meme Gamer cannot close up on the straight. Getting a bit close for conflict. KFC Dowell right behind them. Can he make a move? As Mythic HQ is yet to overtake Axe Deadly, sorry. Bit sus from me there. We have a little bit of movement between KFC and Meme Gamer. Meme Gamer trying to defend his position against KFC. Mythic HQ gets a 3-second time penalty. As here gets a great exit. DRS will be deployed. Not quite straight line speed there for the Haas driver, but in the turns he'll be so much quicker than the front two there. As they get too close for comfort. Red Bull driver trying to make a move on the Alfa Romeo. As you can see, the blinking red light means he's got no ERS remaining. As they both go really wide, can the Haas driver pounce on it? As the Red Bull driver has cutted the corner, as they're both struggling through these turns. Haas driver being careful, does not quite get the overtake. He has to go wide. Will he get it down to the turn though? As they go wheel to wheel into the turn, Red Bull driver edges out, but will he get the inside line? You know he will not. As here we are on board with KFC Wi-Fi. Daryl, can he do nothing? The straight line speed is hurting him. As you can see, Hockey Iceman with a great lead there. As we are currently got 8 laps remaining as we go on board with Denmark with a very demanding lead of 19 seconds. But will he get a time penalty for the incident? We do not know quite yet. As we can see, the three-way battle is still on as Red Bull driver Meme Gamer is going to be close. He's 15 seconds, so we'll be close to a disqualification there as we go on board with the 2 with a 69 number on the side of his car. As we'll be a little close there as he edges out with a little bit of contact left as he waves goodbye to Hockey Iceman. Or was that it? But we do not know with the straight line speed of the Alfa Romeo. What can he do? Nothing quite yet. He's the only one of the 3 without a time penalty. He will most likely direct his lead now. As we see the Haas driver in front of the 3, but you can see a little train forming here. As we have up to P7, a little train forming. Dawid, Meme Gamer, Hockey Iceman. See if they can get involved with a little battle for P3, but currently KFC Wi-Fi is demanding it. Dogic, P2, nice and comfortable. Denmark, 20 seconds in front. This is what you call a Max Verstappen performance, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing quite happening yet, but we'll go on board with the Alfa Romeo driver who'll be wanting to overtake KFC Wi-Fi to secure the P3 podium position. But can he? He has got the Red Bull driver all over him at the moment. There'll be a drag race on that little straight there. We'll say little, but big straight there. Bit late there. As we don't see any activity, but we can see from P7 to P3 little battles going on. But obviously back on the mark with his comfortable 22nd lead, so he can make a couple of mistakes and still beat in the league. Back to P12 Netic HQ, just cruising along, chilling and dipping. Molzener P11, C P10, Reaper Wolf P9, Blister P8, Mr. Emmy P7, Dawid P6, Mean Gamer P5. Hockey, so is that the Ferrari? No, there's nothing to do with this at the moment. Hockey Iceman P4 and KFC Wi-Fi making a big gap, 2-second lead to P4. And let's see if we have any breaking news coming out of the Formula 1 paddock. Obviously, winter pre-season testing starts February 23rd to 25th at the Bahrain International Circuit, as we will be given. Hold on. We should have had the AlphaTauri launch. Not quite too sure when we're getting that. Don't know if that's now or when. Let me check with the F1 page. As no, it's not been released yet. I'm wondering when does that get launched. Wonder when, wonder how. As Reaper Wolf gets a 3-second time penalty there. And I'm trying to find out. So the launch will be, not quite too sure here. Not quite telling me. If anyone knows in chat when the AlphaTauri car launch is, make sure you put it in. As we go on board with the AlphaTauri in P7, closing behind a blue flag for the Ferrari. As that is currently the only news we have coming out of the F1 paddock. Obviously on the 13th we have, let me check, I think it's the Aston Martin and the McLaren. Yes, on the 13th. The other Ferrari on the 14th of February. Mercedes on the 15th of February. And the AlphaTauri on the 16th of February. As we go back on board with Mean Gamer, as KFC Wi-Fi has pulled a gap between these two. But these two are still in the battle for P4 and 5. As we are waiting, as there's a little bit of a spin, he gets iffy-diffy out of that turn. Dawid is going to be all over him now. Dawid will be making the move on the Red Bull driver. These two were making great performances last week at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, but Dawid cannot make a move on the Red Bull driver, trying to pounce on that mistake. Closely following behind Mr. Mean Gamer, and Mr. Emmy, sorry. My apologies on that. As Hockey Iceman not too far in front of the two now. As you can see the mark here, the 21 second lead, sorry. As you can see here, Mercedes driver not too far behind will be deploying DRS down the straight as he might send it up the inside to turn one. No, he does not. He backs out right before the turn. Nothing quite interesting happening at the moment, but Dawood will stay behind the Red Bull driver. Hockey Iceman has pulled the gap to them, to KFC Wi-Fi. Still a few 5 seconds ahead of the two. Doggett still 22 seconds behind your race leader of Darmacavelli. As today's stream, all of us will be thinking of who will win, as who got a little time penalty there. Not quite too sure. Meme Gamer will need to be careful though on 18. I'm pretty sure if he gets one more, as you can see him trying to make a move on Dawood. Dawood stays ahead though, but as we're saying, Meme Gamer on 18 seconds. That is close to disqualification, as Metic HQ hasn't spanned for a long time, so good improvements from the Aston Martin driver. Actually sees coming out of the pits there. He's had a quiet race, but he'll be getting the points in. Let's go on board for this three-way battle again. And you can see from Mr. Emmy the great point of view, sorry. Meme Gamer holding off Mr. Emmy of KC Wi-Fi Darrell gets a 3-second time penalty. So this makes it ever so interesting, as if we get the times up. Interval. Dowd is 2 seconds behind Hockey Iceman, so if he can pull a gap to him, he might be able to secure a P4 place here at Dakota. KFC Wi-Fi might be a bit safe if we can keep it on the surface of the track. As we're finalising into the final 3 laps here. Let's go on board with KFC Wi-Fi. Let's go on board with your leader here. Very demanding running race he has had. He'll be very happy. Just taking it nice and smoothly through the S's. He'll keep it on the surface for the time being. Let's go on board with the Gamer obviously being overtaken by Dowd. Mr. Emmy just slightly holding back at P7, listed 23 seconds behind them. As most drivers other than 3 have got time penalties. Metic HQ 6 seconds, Molzen on 9 seconds, C's 3 seconds, Reaper Wolf 3 seconds, Ballisted 9 seconds, Mr. Emmy 3 seconds, Vanine Gamer 18, Dowd obviously with none, Hockey Iceman has 3 seconds, KFC Wi-Fi 3 seconds, Doggett no seconds, and DeMark, your race leader, with no seconds added onto his final time. As we go on board with the Red Bull driver, he'll be just trying to get the biggest gap he can to Ballisted. Obviously the only man that can overtake him on time. As Hockey Iceman off his racing line, trying to get rid of the slipstream. There are 10 people in the chat. Hello, Hockey Iceman defending his position. He was trying to pull the gap to Dowd. Dowd will want to get that P4 position. Hockey Iceman getting drawn in though by the Mercedes driver. Mercedes driver will be keeping on him on the toes as we go to the final 2 laps of the race. As was that a spin for the Red Bull driver? I'm not quite too sure there. Doggett has gained his time, 4.8 seconds. DeMark will just try and have to keep it on the surface. I think that was a little bit of a spin. He might have slowed down. I'm not quite too sure what happened there. Let me know if you've seen. But Dogic had a 3-second time penalty, so he has ruined his chances. He might have ruined his chances on a P1. But from now, can Hockey Iceman, will he have enough pace? No, he will not. The good result for the two Alfa Romeo drivers. P2 and P4 obviously on the grid. As I think this is the first race I've commentated on with no safety cars. Obviously there's been a virtual safety car, but no safety car currently out of the pits. As DeMarc has still got 5-second lead and is pulling it away from Dogic. Dogic seems to not have the pace to keep up with DeMarc. DeMarc has been outstanding. P1 on the grid. P1 currently as he comes to overtake who's this here? Who's about to overtake? I think that's the Alpine of C's, sorry. As we go to the final lap of the COTA Grand Prix, what can he do? Can he keep it on the surface? One more lap, keep on the track, bud, and you got this. He has had a very demanding qualifying, a very, very demanding race, as a firework goes outside of my house. Bit scary. He sets a purple sector, tyres coming to life. Oh, he pitted. Sorry, he pitted. My fault. He pitted. That's why he's setting these fast times. He's going for the extra points here. As he goes, can he get it though? We will find out. He's fought off the Mercedes driver of Axe Deadliest. Mr. Emmy gets a 3-second time penalty. He has done everything he needed to do. He got pole position. He's had a very clean and demanding race. Obviously they had a little contact with the Mercedes, but from then he's pitted for the soft tyres, going for purple sectors. Let's see what he can do in sector 2 time. Not quite sure if that was a purple sector, as him and Dawid are the only ones left with no time penalties coming around the final few corners. He has done everything he was asked of. He has done everything he has needed to do. Coming around the final turn, your race winner for the COTA Grand Prix, DeMarc in the Red Bull, wins in COTA, and he sets the fastest lap of a 1:36.509, as Doggett comes in with a nice P2. KFC Wi-Fi comes in P3, will hold the gap to Dawid. Ice Hockey Man will not, unfortunately, as Dawid is right behind him. DeMarc in chat puts let's go. Congratulations on your first win in Silver Tier, as Dawid will claim P4 here. Mr. Emmy right behind them. Meme Gamer P18, he'll drop. No, he will not drop. Blistered, awaiting to come round the final three corners. As Metic HQ, after not so demanding race from the Aston Martin driver, the Ferrari driver coming round, as Uranic Bubble puts in, like I said, P5. But that is your race grid for COTA Grand Prix. Hope you all had an amazing time watching this. I was your commentator, coming to you next week for, what is it next week? Double check. What is the track next week? The track next week is Brazil. Brazil will be a good little track for the Silver Tier drivers to try and master. As you can see, the Red Bull driver coming out to celebrate his win in the COTA Silver Tier race. I was your host, Swixy, and we are finished.